Hamish, a few saw guys on the training track this morning, a few guys walking laps. Can you sort of talk us through who did what this morning?
Yeah, obviously there was a couple of incidents from the weekend where boys have pulled up a little bit sore, but that's pretty natural. Generally, at this time of year, there's some guys that are pretty beaten up, so we sort of look after them early on in the week, but most of them will be out on the track on Thursday, I imagine.
So Husto and Sam Gray just sort of walking laps. Are they still bitted out? They've got lots to get through training Thursday to be right.
Yeah, early on in the week they, Grubb copped a pretty nasty corky, and obviously Husto's shoulder, he had a bit of an incident there as well, so they're a little bit sore at the moment, but we expect them to train Thursday or later on in the week anyway and be fine come Saturday.
And Chad as well, does his ankle just still a bit of obviously recovery from first game back on the weekend? Or?
Yeah, again, he's another one that we'll make sure he's 100% ready to go by the end of the week. So early on in the week, while we've got a little bit of time before the game, we won't rush these guys back into doing any more than what they have to.
Was Chatty playing a bit sore on the weekend?
Second half, yeah, a little bit sore, but it didn't really limit him in any way, which was pleasing, and he pulled up really well as well, so we expect that he's going to be okay by the weekend.
How did you see the Tommy Jonas's incident, Hammer?
Look, it's something that as defenders we're encouraged to do all the time off the ball is block our opponent's run as much as we possibly can, and Tommy does that probably a dozen times a game in exactly the same fashion as what he did on the weekend. So, look, none of us are really happy or over the moon with the decision that's been played out, but it's one that we're going to have to cop on the chin, unfortunately, and Tommy, again, is very remorseful, but having said that, I don't think he's going to change the way he goes about it, and we don't expect him to either.
It's disappointing to see that another one. You don't want to think that a bloke gets a reputation as being sort of a sniper, but it's disappointing to see him again go down for a hit like that.
Look, from my point of view, I know the way Tommy plays, and we all do, and that's part of his game. So it's it's not ideal not to have him out there for the next couple of weeks, but in no way will we expect him to play any differently when he does return.
Has he addressed the group at all?
No, he hasn't, because as we said, we don't really think there's too much to it, to be honest. So Tommy will go about training and his preparation for a couple of weeks' time the way he normally would, and we'll just carry on.
How much of a loss is it to the backline not having him there this weekend?
Yeah,
The first final as well.
Look, I think what Tommy's brought this year is a wealth of experience and knowledge back there, which is something that we probably don't have a great deal of at the moment, particularly from the team on the weekend. So we'll miss that a little bit, but we've got guys that can come in and replace him. Hamish is playing some pretty good footy in the SANFL, and then Matty Broadbent and Jasper are looking to return over the next week or two as well. So that'll add a bit of experience for us, which would be great.
Obviously, top four you can't control with Richmond if they win on Sunday, but will you keep a pretty close eye on Sydney and then go, right, we're going to win by 30 points or 50 points or whatever it is?
We'll do all the maths, I suppose, as the games unfold, but yeah, there's so many different situations, circumstances that can unfold over the next weekend's game. So we won't really know where we're at until I think almost the last game of the round. So we'll do our best to win the game first and foremost, and then by as much as we possibly can, like we do every week.
What do you make of the idea of playing all round 23 games at the same time?
Oh, that's a new concept to me. I've never.
Mark Williams suggested that.
Oh, did he? Okay. Yeah, that would make things pretty interesting. I reckon add another dynamic to the end of the season. Yeah, I like it. I don't mind. That's the first time I've thought about it. So I don't know, just off the top of my head, it sounds like a pretty good idea. I'm sure there's reasons why we're not doing it at the moment, but it sounds right to me.
Do you feel like you're hitting reasonable form at the right time of year? It looks that way from the outside.
As a team, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we look. As has been mentioned, a lot over the last few weeks. We feel like generally over the large part of the season, we've played some pretty consistent footy, minus a couple of performances which have been less than ideal. But yeah, the last couple of weeks we've probably improved in a couple of fundamental areas of our game, which we feel like you need to have spot on, particularly at this time of year and going into finals. So that's been a real positive for us. But having said that, we know that, again, there's still areas of our game that need improvement in. And again, we went out today trying to improve on those particular areas. So we're always looking for that advantage.
What are those areas, Hamish, that you want to improve and tick off on leading to the finals next
I think a bit of our polish and going inside 50, our percentage of score per inside 50 has been down a little bit the last few weeks, so still tidying up in that area, and just generally our connection and our ball use in offence.
Why, it's going back a little bit, why didn't the club challenge Tommy? It was just not worth the risk, did it?
Yeah, look, 2 games, if you fail the challenge, which history says a lot of people do, it turns into a 3-week suspension, which, all things going well, is the second week of finals, which is just a huge game for us, provided we get that far. So it's just not worth the risk, we don't think.
Do they need a bit of an overhaul of the NRP? I mean, it seems like I don't want to put in a spot, but every second week there's something different, and a lot of the players seem to go, I don't get that one, I get this one, I don't get that one.
Yeah. Oh, look, there's always a bit of confusion and discussion, I suppose, as to the outcomes of the MRP findings, but they are what they are, and we can't really control too much about that at this stage. I'm sure they'll have a look at how they've done things this year, and changes may be made, may not be made. I don't know. As players, we've just got to keep adjusting and adapting to the way they see the game.
You're a player that said publicly that you play on the edge. You play your best when you play a little bit more aggressive, and Tommy seems to be that way as well. Just talk us through the fine line between playing that way and accidentally getting it wrong.
Yeah, look, I guess from Tommy's incident on the weekend, if he doesn't do what he did and try and block Dowhouse's run, Dowhouse gets goal side of him. Tommy runs around like a caravan, and that's not the way we want to play. It's not much fun running around after Dowhouse and Tip and Woody and Eddie Betts and not applying any physical pressure on them. It's an absolute nightmare. So as defenders and as guys that naturally, I guess, are a bit more physical than others, that's what we're expected to do. So that's the way we'll continue to play.
Do you know as soon as Tommy would he have known straight away?
He might have thought he was in a little bit of doubt, but to his credit, he stayed incredibly positive throughout the whole game, continued to play an aggressive style of footy, which he always does, and then in the last couple of days he hasn't let it affect him whatsoever, and even after he found out that he was going to miss a couple of weeks, his attitude today at the club's been first class. So yeah, it's always sitting in the back of your mind once you're involved in those types of incidents, but you just carry on the best way you can.
I know you've spoken a bit about the injuries, but Jasper, late withdrawal last week. Are you looking okay for this week, you think?
Yeah, Jasper, his calf's progressing as we expected, so he'll look to do a bit more Thursday in the hope to play this weekend, so we expect him to be available as well.
Where's someone like a Jackson Pringo at the moment? Given that Tommy's out this week and the next couple, do you see him as someone that could come in and go into that back line, given the experience he has, and I don't know what his form's been like in that point? Yeah,
no doubt Jacko will be considered. He's played some incredibly strong footy up forward for the Maggies the last couple of weeks, and he does have a wealth of experience in that back line, but we'll have a look at matchups and who's most suited to who in terms of opposition, so that's something that the coaches will go through, and Bass and Kenny will make the right call in terms of that.
This is your last chance to practice, I guess, before the finals.
Yeah.
Are there any sort of real tweaks that we can expect to see, as in things you really want to get right this weekend?
Well, I think the fundamentals that I spoke about, and certainly the area that we've improved the last couple of weeks, is our contested ball and our pressure and tackle numbers. So they're obviously a huge part of finals football, and it's another opportunity for us to work on that particular area of the game. And then there's little bits of our ball movement that we think we can still improve on. So I won't divulge too much, but our game plan as a whole doesn't change at all. We just look at improving and tidying up little bits and pieces.
What has it meant having the young players come into the side? Because I think last week there might have been 6 guys under 20 games experience. What does that sort of mean in terms of bringing that youth up and that sort of energy they bring to the team?
Yeah, it was a huge experience for those guys last year. You know, we had Riley play his second game of AFL footy. Obviously, Toddy Marshall debut and Aidan Johnson, 4 or 5 games, and so we had plenty of youth running around. But they're in the team for a reason. They've been playing some great footy in the SANFL. They add a lot of speed to our game, which is always beneficial for us too. So I think the energy and the enthusiasm that those young guys provide is quite uplifting for the senior guys as well. So we'll have to wait and see in a couple of days' time as to whether those guys will all be playing again. But they certainly showed that they were more than capable of playing at the level.
Hamish, sounds like Jasper's very close to re-signing. We hear reports that he had massive offers interstate. How much of a coup for the club and for Jasper to stick around if he does so when he does put the pen to paper?
Yeah, look, Jasper's an integral part of our team, and not only is he outstanding on the field when he's playing his best footy, but he's just a great character to have around the footy club. Very, very funny, he gets along with everyone, and he's a very caring teammate. So they're the types of guys that you like to have around your footy club. And yeah, as far as we're all aware, he's very, very close. So that's really exciting for us all.
What about Jacko?
In terms of, it's another question mark, I suppose, and one that as players we don't really have those discussions with each other. That's left entirely up to Jacko, his management, and the footy club. We all know that we love Jacko as a player and as a guy around the club. Again, he's incredibly caring. He's looked after many of the guys that have come through the doors here, and I think a few years ago when the club was in a pretty ordinary time, Jacko was the first one to stand up and say, look, I want to stay around. So again, he's got every reason to stay, and he's got every reason to go as well with family and those ties back at home too. So that decision will be left entirely up to him, and we respect whatever he does.